Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Don't see what's yours for the taking tonight. Ooh, show me your soul, baby. I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Can't you see it's way past time? How explicit do I have to be? I mean, I spell it out before you get it, baby. Show me your soul, and honey, I'll show you. I'll show you.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes, I'm still channeling Louise Jefferson, y'all. George. Yeah. It's getting better. You know why? Because I got up, right? I woke up. I got up. It's a new day. Like my friend Don Fawcett says, every day above ground is a great day. Can I get an amen? There's the bell of purpose. Welcome, welcome, welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. And of course, I'm your host, Lauren Michaels Harris, and I wouldn't rather be anywhere else in the world, seriously, than right here with you all right now, fulfilling one of the greatest promises of all, that where two or more of us comes together, you can best believe something wonderful is about to happen, and today's no exception. Before we get started, help me welcome, as always, my little sidekick. This is my best gal. She's been here all 6 years. This is Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo, and we are drinking some medium roast. I'm trying to figure out what I can never keep it straight in my mind. Is light the stronger one? Is dark the weaker one? So I just bought a light, a medium, and a dark, and I'm just seeing which ones I end up pouring more of down the drain, and I won't buy those. Process of elimination. So, news. What's in the news in my world today? Oh, like I didn't remember. Trying to act like it was like, oh, I almost forgot. No, I didn't. You know, I'm not bad. Been feeling well. I got this sinusy thing going on, and you know, I have the where's my inhaler? Now that I'm looking around. Oh, there it is. Okay, just got to know where to reach. The asthma thing, but you know, we all have something. But anyway, went ahead a COVID test yesterday because we're going to see my in-laws this weekend, and we always have one before we go. So anyway, running back and forth, and doctors' offices are just like courtrooms to me. You know, those places just smell different. You feel all weird going there. So, but this time I didn't have to punch the girl. The other one, I didn't hit her. I'm just kidding. Well, you feminists, okay, now time's up. Me too. No, I did not hit her. That was not literal. But the first time I had a COVID test, I swear I could feel her. She was it teared up with that thing. The girl yesterday, I closed my eyes and went like this. She was done. She goes, "You can open your eyes." I was like, "What?" She's like, "I'm done." I said, "I love you. What's your address? I want to come to your house every time I need a COVID test." So anyway, what I'm getting at, I got home from there, and you guys may have seen it on Facebook. Yay! We pitched a show. Well, I got recruited after the Star Trek convention by one of the people that was there, space industry genius, about how'd you like to do a show with me? I have one already on iHeartRadio, and they're asking me for a new one. That fast. They pitched the idea. I thought this was going to take weeks and weeks. I was like, we'll see. You know how it is. Yeah, okay. Boy, yesterday got the word. Our show's approved. We're about to do a little pilot thing they want so they can get the marketing and stuff together. Contract in hand early next week, if not tomorrow, Friday. So God is good all the time. And you know, you guys, I always say to you, no matter what's going on in your life, it is never about just one thing. It isn't. It isn't. Even coins aren't about one thing. Heads, tails. So just know, whatever you believe, whatever you ascribe to be greater than you, believe that whatever you're going through, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, count it all joy, because no matter where it is, it's not just for one thing. Okay? Keep that and take that with you today. I'm so excited. This is a perfectly divine timed show today with Jax Young, especially in light of what's going on in the world. You notice I didn't just say the country. I said the world with Afghanistan. It's good news. It's sad news. The people that are stuck there. It's just so much. But Jax is going to bring something to the table today that even when we were speaking in the backstage beforehand, that I didn't know. And I'm a veteran. We got that little, when you see the flag up in the corner. So today, when you hear the bell of purpose ring, I'm putting a little extra oomph behind it, because you know, we cannot take our freedoms lightly, and we can never, you know, don't get in the habit of just saying to service member, "Thank you for your service." Sometimes say, "And your sacrifice." As you're going to hear today with today's guest, it's more than just, you know, donning a uniform. We lose a lot, we give up a lot, we sacrifice a lot, but we do it because we love each other and we love this country. Now, Jax, he's the CEO and founder, Cowboy Jax, I should say, Jax Young, Jax, okay? He's a disabled veteran and a suicide survivor. He has a service-connected traumatic brain injury, but he also didn't stop him. He founded Save Homefront, known as SHF, back in 2016. He was honorably discharged from the 101st Airborne Division, first of the 502nd Infantry Air Assault, after finding out that his battle buddy had been killed in Iraq in 2003. Now, he elected to pursue a career in professional entertainment, which has proved to be multifaceted and lasted over 20 years. This journey has led SHF in creating ongoing relationships with celebrities, world influencers, celebrities, who do you know? And public figures who serve and support our country. These partnerships with veterans and community neighbors, which are non-veterans, are the purpose of the Life After the Uniform movement, substantiating that an authentic depiction makes all the difference. Now, here's another little something. Before we bring Jax in, and I'm about to do that, I'm going to go straight from this little 1-minute clip that I found about what's happening currently as of, I think, 40 some minutes ago. CNN posted this. And then we'll get him in, and you're going to see how this all comes together, how it always ties in, yesterday, the present, and tomorrow, especially when it comes to things about how we're living in this world and what we're doing in this country. Here we go.
Well, Millie, I was very struck you used the words pain and anger, and that you understood that was out there. So as a combat veteran yourself of Afghanistan, can you help people understand that? Where does your pain and anger come from?
I have all those same emotions, and I'm sure the Secretary does, and anyone who served. And I commanded troops, and I wasn't born a 4-star general. I have walked the patrols and been blown up and shot at and RPG'd and everything else. My pain and anger comes from the same as the grieving families, the same as those soldiers that are on the ground. Last night I visited the wounded up in Walter Reed. This is tough stuff. War is hard.
Yes.
It's vicious. It's brutal. It's unforgiving. And yes, we all have pain and anger. And when we see what has unfolded over the last 20 years and over the last 20 days, that creates pain and anger. And mine comes from 242 of my soldiers killed in action over 20 years in Iraq and Afghanistan. So yeah, I have that, but I'm a professional soldier. I'm going to contain my pain and anger and continue to execute my mission.
Wow. There it is. There it is. And here we got, you guys, without further ado, put your hearts on the screen. Stand up, put your heart, your hand over your heart. Do what you need to do, because here he comes. A true hero, in my opinion, Jax Young. Jax, how are you? Uh-oh. Not the 10-gallon Stetson. Or is that 5? I don't know. I love it. That's the only kind of hat I don't have. Christmas is coming, hint, hint.
Well, we might have to work on that, because you can't be Cowboy Jax and not wear a cowboy hat. Or as I say, just a hat, right, Lauren?
Yes, you look great. Thank you for donning your Nordstrom's robe. I recognize it from, I think that was 2017's. Did you get that in 2017?
Actually, no, I think I got it last year for Christmas, or perhaps the year before last. My woman takes good care of me. That's all I can say.
I know. I think I have that robe, but my collar is black on it.
Oh,
so
okay.
Man, I should run upstairs and dig it out. I have a closet full of robes, of course. So I'm so glad you're here. Before we get started, tell everybody, I'm going to just let you go into it. Introduce yourself, tell them where you're at in the world, a little bit about Cowboy Jax, and then go right into what you just saw on the screen. How's that make you feel this morning?
Sure. Well, first of all, I just want to say I'm a huge fan and absolutely delighted to be able to spend some time with an amazing veteran like Lauren. He is all about what we do here at SHF, which is the Life After the Uniform movement. And we basically take mass media to shorten our mission statement and use it as a vehicle to be able to show authentic depiction of U.S. veterans.
Wow.
The reason this is so important is because a lot of times when folks get out of service, they continue that symbiotic relationship with the uniform. And even though the military teaches us the greatest building blocks that we'll use in our life, the next chapter does happen. And when it does, you want to be able to be empowered and embraced in your communities. And the best way to be able to do that is to showcase education and educational projects that are fun and entertaining that help to create that relationship between the veteran and the community neighbor. The reason we use the terminology community neighbor is because you're no longer a civilian. If I'm not under a government contract or I don't work for the state, then you're my community neighbor. And we think that's very important as well. So the second part of what we do that's so important is we engage the community neighbor to understand their importance to the veteran. Because I've had plenty of conversations with community neighbors at events and things of that nature, which we could, you could deep dive and ask me questions about. But one of the big things is they often feel like secondary citizens, or they often feel like that, that's where the whole thank you for your service thing comes from. And even though it's a slight adjustment, and we can deep dive into that as well, I appreciate your service is a lot different than thank you for your service, because you have no idea what that veteran has been through. Like, for instance, I lost my battle buddy. I wasn't able to go to Iraq. I deal with traumatic brain injury. So it's sort of a trigger for me, and it can be a trigger for other folks too. So when you say you appreciate them, that's coming just from your opinion and from your perspective. And so I don't have any ownership in that. I can just take it in. But if you thank me for something that you don't know about, some veterans, they're very uncomfortable about being thanked for their service. We opened
Yes.
in 2016, as you said. I am a father of two boys, 11 and 24. I'm engaged to an amazing veteran, Linda
24.
Sullivan. And I live in Nashville, Tennessee, and I've been in professional entertainment for over 20 years in front of and behind the scenes.
Yes. Yes, you have. And I want you guys, look, I remember when I came across you, Jax, I was looking and I said, oh, I said, wait a minute. I saw this. I was like, he has got to have been at the Country Music Awards at least 5 times. I swear I've seen, man, if that isn't, I'm telling you. So, yeah, I was like, well, he is a real deal. You know, there's so much here. We need a series. I'm probably going to need to do a 90-minute television special about this subject, and I'm serious about that. I'd love to talk to you about that because, you know, this is the same thing. I think somewhere down the road earlier this week on a show, I was talking about the same sort of mindset where back before I was addicted to drugs, you know, post enlistment with all the, shit happens. I thought that a drug addict, a fiend or whatever looked like something off of one of the movies, or that person with the greasy hair at the, freeway thing trying to get change. And didn't realize that it could look anything different until I was looking at myself as one. Now, what is this thing though about veterans, the second class citizen thing? It seems like everyone's always like, when you say that, oh, thank you for the service. That's why I think that needs to be changed. It's too cookie cutter. It's too easy. It lets people off the hook. Because, for instance, let's use you. Is it okay if we use you for an example?
Let's get at it, brother.
And you guys, be real. Be honest with yourselves and put it in the comments. If I were to say, I'm going to have a guest on it in a week who has a traumatic brain injury, if somebody called me and said, Lauren, I have a guest for you. They have a traumatic brain injury. Before they would start describing it, I don't care if it was that long, I would have pictured you in a wheelchair with stuff hanging out of you and a catheter bag on the side, your head dropped and drool coming out.
Well
That's
said.
what I've been groomed to think that looks like. But you're a functioning person with that same thing. And maybe if people saw behind what they think they know, they might understand what you're talking about. I appreciate your service. And the thing about thank you for your sacrifice, you see. Mm-hmm. So tell us what that traumatic brain injury looks like in your everyday life. What does that mean? Just this week I've been, having to keep this closed, having this stuff, any little thing to kind of write a temporary thing. But you have things that you have to keep and do every day that it's not going away. That's what people don't know about. Talk about that if you could, Jax.
Sure. And I love that you touch on that because, psychology teaches us, I was double majored in college in philosophy and military science. And so psychology was some of the elective classes that I took. And I'm also engaged to someone that has a psychology degree. Mm-hmm. Perception is reality, right? And so the way that we perceive things automatically becomes our reality. That's where that old saying, don't judge a book by its cover, comes from, right? Because you got to read the pages to really understand the book. So what traumatic brain injury looks like for me on a daily basis internally, I like to use this saying that my nanny used to use all the time. Calm on the surface, like a duck, paddling like the dickens underneath, right? So I am constantly postured to deal with my anxiety, make sure that I am staying mindful in the situation that I am in. I also suffer from an interim tremor where my hands shake, and thank God for the VA because I got medicine that has helped me to be able to, take guidance over that and things of that nature. So there's a lot going on inside, what I like to call organized chaos. I've gotten so good at it that a lot of people are just mind blown, but I'll use a story as an example. A friend of mine here recently, we were having a conversation about something and I rubbed them the wrong way. And I didn't know that I rubbed them the wrong way. And so when we went back in to have the conversation the second time, you know, they said, I don't mind you talking about this issue. I don't mind that you have, you know, voiced your concerns. But when you do it 3 different times, you know, it's starting to wear on me in the sense of that, you know, I get what you're saying. And Lauren, the reality for me is that I thought I'd had that conversation with him one time, right? So, you know, when you're in a position like I am, it's constant checks and balances. You know, I've been to over 100 hours of counseling so I can get the tools to be able to be effective in my daily life. So you're not going to do this on your own. It absolutely takes a village of people. And I'll often lead my business meetings with being like, just to let y'all know, I have brain damage, and everybody will laugh in the room and it'll be like a fun, you know, icebreaker. But those are the ways that you start to deal with your disabilities in a positive way, right?
Mhm.
Because there's 2 ways to look at it and 2 ways to deal with it. And so that's just a touch on some of what I deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'll tell you what, I feel like I'm inside of a turnstile, you know, at a hotel, that door, that's going around and around because there's so many compartments here, just spinning around. I want to get to Save Homefront, of course. But before that, let's talk about, because Save Homefront is really, in a sense, a type of reentry program. Wouldn't you say?
I think that it is more so designed for community neighbors and their education of veterans and a conduit to hold veterans accountable. You know, a lot of veterans get out, or at least in my experience of what I've seen, and they don't go to the VA, right? Because they think somebody else needs to go to the VA. They don't think that they necessarily can move on with that next step of their life because they felt like the military was the greatest thing that they did. And there's a lot of folks that don't deploy, and there's a lot of folks that serve honorably that feel like that their service didn't count because the majority of the national narrative is what? Combat, PTSD, suicide survival,
Right.
potential homelessness. I mean, don't all these headlines sound very familiar
Yes, they
to
do.
you?
Yeah.
So we focus on a proactive environment versus a reactive environment.
Okay. Okay. Now, what about this little ditty? Because a lot of people assume that it is the civilian sector that is in the dark and not treating returning veterans in the manner that they deserve to be treated. But we have a person on here right now watching. I know for a fact, Marty Martinez. You know,
Hey,
yeah, yeah, Moac. And you
love
know
that dude.
what he's not just dealt with, but is dealing with the fact that his wife got deployed, or not deployed, but transferred. You know, I think Germany, and he just knew he was going. And what he had just retired after all those years, you know, high ranking. And what do they tell him? All the things that he accumulated as far as ow, 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 all over the place, jumping out of planes or whatever he was doing. No, you can't go because you're broken. Coming from the very people that helped break him. So what do you say about that? That's some sort of disconnect. Yes.
So to make sure that I'm clear, my exiting from the military service was not. I went 15 years with undiagnosed traumatic brain injury.
While you were in there.
Well, an accident happened is what led to me getting out, and
Okay.
then, but it
Oh.
was that's a story that we might be able to unpack in a little bit. But the emphasis that I want to get to is that I think it's important for, and this is where a lot of disconnect in the education would come from, and I think that Marty would agree too. You know, the military's purpose is to make sure that you're deployable and that you're readiness ready, right? Which means, you know, that's what you signed the contract
That's
for.
true.
And whether you're a support element or whether, you know, you're an operational element, that's what you're paid for, you know? And so I understood that after going through some of those things. So I think that the main responsibility that you have is to yourself. You know, if you're getting ready to get out of the military, get engaged with the VA. Put your pride aside. Make sure that you do all of the things that you need to have, you know, medically understood in your jacket before you get out, because those service connected things will really pay off in the long run. You know, Malachi Gaskin is someone who is my VSO, and I was so stubborn. It took me forever to finally just buckle down and get in there. And once I did, I went from 50% to 90%, you know, and not only that, but the idea of that it's there for me, right? And that's what I want community neighbors to understand. If you don't go to work and pay your taxes, we don't have VA benefits. You know, you are just as important in this as what the veteran element is. It's the veteran's responsibility to go to the VA, third time, go to the VA, right?
I wear them out.
And it's the community neighbor's responsibility that makes sure that we have a military, that you have a paycheck every single week. Make sure that you have the veteran care that you need and things of that nature. So that relationship together as a seed is what creates community. And that's what we feel at Save Homefront needs to be more of the proactive approach. So that's how I feel about that.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And this is just great work you're doing. Before we got, in a few minutes, we're going to hit for our 1 minute commercial. But before then, Jax, I'd like to know how you feel about what's happening now. No, we'll save that for after, because I want to tie that into we're going to hear some of Jax's music. We're going to actually watch a video, music video. And I love the story behind it. But what about this? Do you think, it has always been in my mind, I've worked with so many veterans that are deployed, going back and forth to Afghanistan. Ryan Hendricks, remember him? You know Ryan Hendricks? Is it Hendricks or Henderson? Hendricks. And
I think it's Henderson, right? He wrote the book, Tip of the Spear.
Tip of the Spear. And you know, look, after the leg and stuff, and how he fought to get his way back and went right back over there. What about with multiple deployments? Do you think anything? Okay, yes, we have the, I'm in till the end, but do you think some of our service members, they come home and they just keep going back? They just keep going back because of the way they're being treated here? What is the thing that people don't see that they're doing, that if you feel that if they did know, they just might try to do better?
Well, again, I think that the people that want to continue to go back are people like me that, you know, I got injured and I had to leave. I mean, joining the military is a very serious thing. Signing up for that contract, if you're not in the mindset of what the next 20 years looks like for you, you know, then why are you joining? Because it's no different than any other profession on the planet, right? I mean, it has a retirement, it has benefits, those things of that nature. But I think what separates some from the others is intestinal fortitude, right? Or that they get addicted to it, or that they want to hold on to it so long because of that fear that I told you about, the next chapter of their life. Now, they're not going to call it fear. You know, they're going to call it pride. They're going to call it, you know, mission readiness, all those kinds of things. And I think that's what we're trained for, right? But look at guys like Chris Kyle. You know, I don't know if it was an actual fact that he said, but it was stated in the movie American Sniper. He goes, I don't sleep well at night, not because of the people that, you know, or the objectives that I had to take out. I don't sleep at night because I could be over there right now and I'm thinking about the people that I'm potentially not saving. And at some point, that's the whole point, right? But let's talk about another group for a quick second. What about all those people that don't deploy? You know, I talked to a guy that was in the military for 20 years and he said, oh, I never went anywhere, so my service really didn't matter.
That's how I felt.
Exactly. So I spoke to a lieutenant colonel retired who told me that the biggest issue is what's called the silent majority. And what the silent majority is all those veterans out there that need a help up, not a handout, but don't feel deserving because of the fact that they don't get any of the narrative, right? And that's where SHF comes in, and that's why we utilize entertainment as that way of drawing community neighbors in and veterans, because that creates a common interest that they both have. You may not understand the military, but you both may love Morgan Freeman, you know, who's a USAF, veteran, right? Yeah. So then it starts to take down those walls. Once we take down the walls, then we can put new information in there And then we see the identity and the connection that we're supposed to have. So that's why the community neighbor is just as important, if not right now, more important, because you have over 40,000 veterans charities out there saying that they're focused on PTSD, saying that they're focused on suicide, saying that they're focused on homelessness. We're the broad strokes of positivity for the veteran and community neighbor world. And we use professional entertainment to do that because you have to shift that focus, right?
Yeah, you do. In the last 5 months became 70% service connected. Here we are, 30 years after the fact. And all this time, I had no idea, because I sat behind a desk as a procurement officer doing contracts and spending money during Desert Storm, but never thought that I didn't do anything. I mean, my roommate worked on the flight line and this, that, and the other. And I even thought that was more, dangerous and stuff than what I did. And that I was, and a lot of the things that came post-military were attached to the very PTSD that I just found out in the last 6 months I've been dealing with all these decades. Everything,
Absolutely.
the sleep apnea, all of it. I had no idea. I just thought I'm fucked up. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's really what I thought.
100% understand what you're saying. And just look at the organic conversation that we're having. Look at what's coming to light just from the organic conversation that we're having. Now imagine 310 million Americans. Of that 310 million, less than 1% serve. Legacy is the biggest recruitment tool. So there's a very small pool of people that really understand what a veteran is. Right. And even inside our own community, people have a confusion, right? There's a difference between a combat veteran and a United States veteran. Look up the code. I did, and we're going to have it on our website. We're excited to be working with Shane Algram, Multimedia and Entertainment, who's helping us to revamp the look of our website and things of that nature. And we have some amazing things coming out, but you're seeing SHF happen right now on this conversation. This is what we do.
Wow. Awesome. When we come back from a brief commercial break, we're going to talk to Jax about a number of things. We're going to go directly into his video from commercial break, but then we're going to come back. I know you guys have been looking over his shoulder, wondering, what does he mean by that in the background? This shirt makes history. That and a lot more, including addressing your questions and comments when we return. Don't you dare go away. We'll be right back.
Except I received this insight about a title called Prisoner of War. The book.
You heard it here first on Screaming Eagle Radio. Disabled veteran Jax Young with Leave a Light On.
Ain't much I can say, even less I can do, but I want you to know I'm so dang proud of you. I should have said it then, but the words wouldn't come out. Now I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna leave a light on till you get back home, big and shining in the dark, guiding you back to my heart, where there's a light on, even though you're gone. Keeping the faith, you get back to where you belong. I'm gonna leave a light on. Baby, it's rough having this kind of love, feeling deep inside, wraps your soul up tight. All praying for you is all I can do. But at night, my hope glows bright. Leaving a light on until you get back home, a beacon shining in the dark, guiding you back to my heart, where there's a light on, even though you're gone. Keeping the faith, you get back to where you belong. Gonna leave a light on. When I see all of them, one by one come on, I reminded them none of us are alone. We all want our soldiers home. Where there's a light on, even though you're gone. Keeping the faith, you come back to where you belong. Until you come home, I'm gonna leave a light on. Let it shine, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it
Wow. Man.
Does it feel good?
Yes. And Jack, I just want to say, wow, you guys, I'm letting that go out. We're going to talk about this right now. Well, and I wanted to take the, here it comes, y'all. Wait for it. Where is it? Because I ain't even ashamed. I'm not. Here it comes. Shameless plug. Get on the screen. Oh, there's all this weird stuff happening. There we go. Shameless plug. You know, we both sing. We talked about that. But what you don't know is when I was a session singer, country singers were the ones that took me or called me the most. So I've been in the studio with Glenn Campbell, Waylon Jennings, Lee Greenwood, and the Osmond Brothers.
That's dope.
I love country music.
Yeah, man.
I really do. I mean, and they're the most beautiful group of people on the planet. Have you never seen the Country Music Awards? I mean, they're not an ugly one up there. So you're in good company. Jax, tell everybody about this green light thing. I didn't even know about it until you put me up on it at the front end of the show. Talk about that and how you came up with this song for that.
Sure. Well, again, we talked about being proactive versus reactive, right? And I want to be very clear. I'm a patriot myself. That's obvious, but a lot of what goes on inside our community neighbors may not be able to relate to. So the idea behind it is to get something that they could get engaged with, that they could be proud of, that they could feel like that they mattered, and that they could relate to their loved ones and the story that it tells and stuff like that. As you can tell, a woman is our hero in the story, right? The man is the supporting element, the woman's the hero. So there were little subtleties that we could dig in there, but the whole ethos behind it is that Walmart did a social media campaign several years in the early 2000s that was called Green Light a Vet. And I ran across this, and I was searching and searching and searching of like, how can I meet a community neighbor, non-veteran, where they're at versus going the route that other people were already doing, right? It's called disrupting the narrative. And so over 10 million people had registered their light bulb across the United States. And it was just a social media thing that they did where you could screw in a green light that you can get at Home Depot, Lowe's, or Walmart. By the way, anyone working for them, we want to connect with you to take this to that next level. So we thought, let's do green light bulbs, right? Because green represents growth. Green represents so many things besides green lighting a vet to come back into the community. The person that you saw at the end, Michael Cameron Dempsey, their foundation was the one that sponsored the video. And he worked for the UN and unfortunately had taken his life. So we went in with Jack, his dad, and their family and said, let's take the worst tragedy in your life and turning it into something positive for the world. And so it transcends that, right? You talk about being multifaceted in business, right? Well, I believe your life philosophy is your business philosophy. And so to transcend those different facets to people and meaning and things of that nature is what's most important. And you wouldn't believe the people that we would have that would reach out to us and say, this is the impact that it had for X, Y, and Z that didn't have anything to do with veterans, not to mention veterans to reach out to us, spouses of veterans, all those different kinds of things. So, there's a...
Sherry McQueen is replacing her light bulb this weekend with a green one. I love that. Yeah.
Right. And it's those, and so that's why we thought if you put a song behind it in this beautifully shot video by Sailor Brothers, in production with us, SHF, now you've got a vehicle to carry that. So we can have conversations about, those things and the visual representation and stuff like that. I'd also like to add that Curtis Boone was a Detroit native from Motown, okay, who is a little darker shade than I am, right? Johnny Neal from the Allman Brothers produced it, #1 songwriter, helped co-write it, and myself, a cowboy, right? So now you've got this multicultural group coming together to utilize music for the positive that starts with one lens, but transcends to so many other things. And that's the beautiful part about this for me the most.
It really is. Jax, I'm going to tell you something. As I chew my vegetarian sausage.
Go ahead and get it.
I know, right? You and I think the same way.
Yes, we do.
We do, as far as what it takes. People, I get it. When I see that video, I know how many doors you had to knock on and say, I know you're in there, I can hear you. They hide like you're the Jehovah's Witnesses. You know how people get down on the floor? No, seriously, my birth mother was like that. Those witnesses are get down. And we crawl all the way back to the kitchen. Right. And you can hear about that. Somebody's here. There's a car in the driveway. So what I'm getting at is again, people take it for face value, but they don't know how much convincing, how much and it's not even those ones that say, yes, let's get it. What you don't get, what they don't see is how you stay up and wake up with just the imprint in your soul, on your spirit, of the people that just don't get it and feel like I don't give a shit. I don't need to get it. You know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
But it lights your
100%.
fire.
But
Right.
here's the thing: $2 trillion, I think, is one of the researchers that I just read, of claims that have not been filed yet from post 9/11 that will be, and everything else. So if we don't get these guys back to work, these guys and gals back to work, if we don't show the value of what the veteran means in the communities, the way this will economically affect everyone moving forward is huge. This isn't just a veteran issue.
Right.
This is an American issue, but you got to be proactive, not reactive about it. Right? You got to meet them in the middle. You can't say, this is me, this is who I am, let me force this down your throat. No, you got to speak their language. And that's why I believe that I served for the amount of time that I did in the military, that I got injured, and that this was, my predestined thing, because I can speak about it intelligently, charismatically, and across party lines, which is what's important. The biggest thing that you have to overcome is the stereotypes. Oh yeah, I'm pro-military. No, this isn't military. Oh yeah, I'm all about the vets, and I've got people that deployed over war and all this. No, it's not about deployment. There are plenty of institutions, to include the USO, that are there for that specific mission and purpose with soldiers. We are here to be that proactive element between community, neighbors, and veterans, which is completely different from anything military.
Completely. And speaking of that, I mean, I haven't literally seen it in a roundtable thing, like in a bar or a restaurant, having a conversation with civilians across other tables. We're just in there. And someone says what you said about, yeah, kill those so-and-so. And they go, no. I wasn't there to kill people. I was there to save people. And then the light, like the dimmer switch went down, like, same thing that makes people stare at a burning building or slow down at a car accident.
The two most insulting things that you can say to a veteran are, where did you go and did you kill anybody?
And it happens all the time.
Right? I don't have to go anywhere in order to be a U.S. veteran. You will never know what it feels, well, you might, what it feels like to know that when the big game, they deployed 3 weeks after I got out of the military, and my battle buddy was dead by November doing the job that I would have been doing if I would have been there. No one has any idea what it feels like to have to sit the bench for the big game, especially when you're an infantry soldier.
Right.
So don't ask me where I went, man. Ask me what I'm doing now. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yes. And there's survivor's guilt for people that, like me, who never even went. You feel like, you feel shitty. I'll just keep it real that, like I didn't do enough, or why did I pick that AFSC and all of this? But when you said earlier that you speak about it eloquently, you sure do. Because I wrote down, you're the first person on this show in 6 years, you say ethos. I was like, man, and that's a big word that falls under my rule of no words over 6 letters, public school. But I'm like, wow, he slipped that one in. But what I love, like I said, is I get it, man. I really do. And you're taking such a big, you're taking a big bite out of what should be a little apple, where most people think you're taking a little bite out of a big apple. And that's why you do it, because you see what I'm saying? So
yeah. All the time I have conversations with people. Well, I did this research and I don't see the issue of what you're talking about. And it's like, yeah, because you're in the mindset, because that says heroes or warriors or patriotism and all this other kind of stuff that people use for the branding aspects of things, that you think that the story's being told, and it's not. Because it's not about PTSD. It's not about suicide. It's not about homelessness. There are plenty of veterans that need a help up, not a handout, or just the encouragement to open that next chapter of their life. And that's what you and me and others are doing.
And who doesn't need that?
Absolutely.
Everybody needs that in one facet or another, whether you are willing to admit it or not. But, and when you look at it this way, the way that you're putting it out there, and so many different causes attempting the same thing, especially now more than ever, it's what I love about it is we're focusing on our connections, our connectors, our similarities instead of our differences. That has always worked. That has always worked to make a difference. So Jack, speaking of making a difference, tell the folks at home what they can do to start making a difference, and explain that shirt, if you could, behind you, this shirt?
Sure.
History.
Yeah. So the whole purpose behind the shirt is I get a little emotional here, traumatic brain injury moment.
Go right ahead. We're
For
here.
me, it's based off of how do we connect? Because the person that you disagree with the most in the room is the one that you have to connect with to make a difference. And so the message behind the shirt is simple. This shirt makes history. We've got a project that we're working on that you can check out at shfveterans.org. So you can read about that. But what I want to articulate is the other part. If you don't like the history the way it's been before, if you have a certain opinion of the way it is now, with this message, you make your own history. You write your own chapter. So again, it's about veteran causes through the lens of a veteran cause, but it transcends everything that we've been going through the last couple of years, right? The other point that I want to make that I think is important is what you asked me earlier on in Afghanistan. Anyone that served honorably did what they were supposed to do. And if they have any questions about or regrets or anything like that, seek counseling immediately, because you have some underlying issues that you need to connect with in order to enrich the next chapter of your life. As far as the active duty military that were on the ground, you guys are the greatest fighting force in the world. You're the most professional fighting force in the world. You did what you were supposed to do, being ready, having readiness, and being able to execute the mission to your fullest ability. Don't think about things that are above your pay grade. Focus on the things that are around you. And the last thing, that I think is super important to say is that check us out at shfveterans.org. Go to Save Homefront. If you're a producer, if you're a director, if you're an investor, if you want to do sponsorship content, if you want to create music projects, if you are an artist in any of those, we want to hear from you. Our focus is life after the uniform for people that do extraordinary things in different genres of entertainment, like Lauren Harris, you'll be seeing more of with SHF as well. And that's the life after the uniform movement. We're focusing on celebrities first. And you can go to my page, Jax Young on Facebook, and look at my late night with Cowboy Jax, positive entertainment for your insomnia, where we showcase what veterans are doing in life after the uniform, and you'll be very surprised of some of the people that are veterans.
Or some of the things, right? I find that myself. That's what I love about it. And I'm going to put you on the spot. I've been doing this a lot lately, and it works. Jax, I'm putting it out there right now, and I mean it. I would love it. I don't care what I got to do to make it happen, but I would love for you to come and do that song. I know you got the track. And come and do that song on our stage April 28th here in Chicago at the Stan Mansion.
Awesome.
I'll do whatever it takes
honor
to find a budget to make that happen. But
absolutely.
I love it, and I know just a fraction of what you have invested to get this message out there, and the least that we can do is to just put a little something behind it to push it just a little bit further. The reason this is so important, everybody, is because, I know, Jackson, let's just talk about this as we got about 6 minutes left, which is a lot. Tell me yes or no. You know those times that nobody sees us, Jackson, when we wake up in the middle of the night and you sit and you go watch your own video and stuff? I feel that way about my Power We Symposium sponsorship video, which we watched just the other day on the show. And I used to sit and question, like, will they ever get it? Will they ever get it? Does anyone see it? Am I wrong here? Why is this? Why did I spend money I didn't have if it wasn't going to do anything? And then, because of standing in the middle of the highway of this journey, painting a line with purpose and patience, purpose on one side, passion on the other, but patience, just waiting on it, learning to wait on it. That's our people like us. That's our visionaries in large. You all too. It's our greatest challenge to just be patient and believe that if we build it, they indeed will come. So you know what I'm talking about? How you question, why me? You almost feel like a Noah or a Moses. Like, why did you pick me of all people? I thought this was
brother.
right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Talk to that person, Jax, who may be sitting, lying, standing, wherever they find themselves right now, wondering if they can really do this thing. If they can, what is it that you can say to help them believe in their own never-ending story?
First and foremost, don't be the smartest person in the room. If you are, you're in the wrong room. Secondly, I would say is continue to build each project with something in mind of gauging those metrics. 2016, I was homeless. Someone said, "Are you still working on that idea for a nonprofit?" And I was living in a Sherpo garage, and I was like, "Yes, I am." And
I
that
was homeless
event,
in 2016 too.
well, see, and look at us now, right? But so from 2016 to now, we have went from creating an event that is the Grammys that meets the Oscars, but it's the SHF Honors. We have done 2018 Jeep JL with reality stars that went to Vegas. And we have done the Leave a Light On music video, which you've seen. And all of that led to working with American Chopper and receiving Americana the Chopper, right? Which is the 100th anniversary chopper customly created for 100 years of Veterans Day. So my point is that measure each step. Don't just have a dream or a vision, but look at if you're in the right lane as you keep moving forward. And you'll find yourself on, Bathrobe Moments someday.
Oh, that's so funny. Thank you for that. And thank you not only for the work you're doing, but for all the work you've done and for all that is yet to come, because you're just getting started. I can sense it in my spirit. And I just want to encourage everyone, look into this on your screen, on Instagram, check out @SaveHomefront. And then here is the nonprofit website, shfveterans.org. And Jax, remind them of the other ones you were talking about, your personal one, which we don't have.
Facebook, Jax Young. I've been through so much things, and the biggest thing that I can do is pay it forward. So if you have an issue, if you have a question or whatever, now if we get into a deep dive, I got to eat too, but I will make sure that I give you great affordable rates for consulting and all those different kind of things. But the main thing that it's about community. So you can find me on Facebook, Jax Young. And definitely just go like these pages. Even a simple like. Ask Lauren. A like or a share makes all the difference when we want to work with other businesses to be successful, to get better products and services out there, for you.
And that's a great point about that one like or share. I remember,
Yes.
I tell you guys have heard this before, the night before my Goldcast video was released, and everybody's making, oh, you got to get millions and millions and millions. That's what they do. And a guy told me that night, Lauren, don't pay any attention to the numbers on the left, because you may have millions of views, but that's the equivalent of somebody running across your snow-driven lawn, but their feet are going in the direction other than the door. Doesn't mean they were there to see you. They may not even know you live there, but it's those emojis, those likes, those shares, those comments, things that people did not have to do, but they stopped and they did it anyway to let you know something in your world, in your speech, in your message, in your heart resonated with me. And the good thing about that one share, again, is the same as what we're doing here today, everybody. We're fulfilling one of the greatest promises of all time, that where two or more of us gets together, something wonderful will happen. Anytime I was suicidal, anytime I was depressed, I was alone. It will work its ass off to get us apart, to separate us so that it can get us alone, because that's where it can whisper lies, deceit, and deception louder than any place else. So do what you do. Every time you hit a share, every time you do a like, you are committing your spirit to a part of a oneness that is us as a human family. So Jax Young, I just knew this was going to be spectacular, but you surpassed even my expectations for today.
You're spectacular.
So, well, thank you so much. I received that. And I receive everything that you all have dropped in today. Thank you so much for pouring into Jax and I, and for allowing us to hopefully pour a little bit into you. Jax Young, I look forward to it. I'm going to talk to you. Stay in the green room for just a second if you could.
Yes.
I want to give you some more information on Chicago because I'm serious
Okay.
about that. And tomorrow, you guys, meet me back on the front porch again. Allison Summers is here. She's got a fantastic book. She is a good friend of mine. She was at my very first event, the Authority Maker Boot Camp in Las Vegas, and she's been a part of my life ever since. She's here tomorrow morning. So get out there today, be the blessing you'd like to receive. Just remember, you don't have to change the world by building a skyscraper. You just build the world. You know, a little bit of something is always going to be better than a whole lot of nothing. Take that with you. I'm Lauren Michaels Harris, and I look forward to seeing you for our next episode of Bathrobe Moments.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind.